Time now for our Wellness Wednesday segment. Today we're diving into soul contracts, what they are and how they can align you with your life specifically at a certain age. Now joining us is our soul contract practitioner, Giliana Aiken. And first of all, welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Now, let's back up a minute because I'm brand new. What is a soul contract?
A soul contract is an agreement that your soul makes before it reincarnates into any given lifetime with its higher self, with the creator, with source energy, with God, with all that is, for what your set of experiences is going to be in any given lifetime. And that includes the karma you're going to work on, your unique talents, goals, and ultimately what is going to be the soul purpose for that incarnation.
Now, talking about a cycle, a 7-year cycle, what does that have to do with having a soul contract? And can you remake yourself before 7 years, after 7 years?
Well, the 7 years is actually mentioned in a number of different sacred texts, and it's said that everything happens in 7-year cycles. And if you think about it, we have 7 days of the week. You know, even if we take the most traditional biblical story, there's the 7-day creation, right? So everything happens in 7-year cycles, and when you turn 35, this is your 5th 7-year cycle. And right, so from 35 to 42, we're entering a spiritual awakening cycle, which is meant to take us deeper into our soul's purpose.
Yeah, a lot of people experience changes between that 35 to 45 range. And it really can be traumatic. It can be unbelievably beneficial. How can knowing this help people in their lives right now?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. With my clients, this is where I see marriages, divorces, career changes, health issues, car accidents. Like you said, a lot of traumatic things. But really what's happening is life is actually pushing you towards your purpose. And what I tell people is, the more resistant you are to what your soul's trying to push you towards, the more challenging it can be. The key is to deeply connect into your soul and understand what is happening on a bigger scale, because it actually doesn't have to be as traumatic.
When you have a client, what is the first thing you do with that client?
Well, for me personally, I'm literally reading their soul contract, and I do this off of their birth name. So once the client gives me their name as it's written on the birth certificate, I decode the sound frequencies. And based on the sound frequencies that they carry within their name, again, I'm able to see the karma they brought into this lifetime, their unique talents, goals, what their purpose is. And so once I explain this to the client, we actually go through the chart and see how all of this is playing out in their life.
And once you get that, how it plays out in their life, what kind of advice do you give them? Do you give them advice to angle it one way or the other?
Sometimes it's advice. I find that for a lot of people, it's actually extremely validating to see that they're on the right track. And I think that's one of the main reasons people come to me, is for validation. And, you know, me oftentimes being the stranger off the internet that can take a look at their soul chart and tell them things verbally that I see that they've thought in their minds but have never verbalized to anybody else. It's extremely validating for them. They're like, how do you know this? Even my best friend doesn't know this because I've never verbalized it.
We appreciate the time this morning. Giliana, can you tell people where they can find you?
Absolutely. On Instagram, it's soul_contracts_practitioner, and my website is yoursoulscontract.com.